Hello, welcome back to my channel, or welcome to my channel. So in today's video, I'm making pumpkin bread. I said about it last episode when I made my cinnamon apples, so if you haven't seen that video, check it out. Of course, after watching this one. So I was a little more organized this time, and I actually started separating some of the stuff because this is a brand new recipe for me. I'm doing like a copycat version of Starbucks pumpkin bread. It's fall, so I figured why not. I do need to be a little more like last episode. I was a lot less strict about the recipe. Since this is my first time making this recipe, I'm gonna follow it as close to a T as possible. So as I go, I will talk about them. I just first need to grab the eggs. Because while I try to be more organized, of course, I can't have everything put together. But it called for 3 large eggs, so I'm going to use these. The recipe said to add the ingredients written down. I don't have the directions. Written down. But I do remember it pretty well. It was 3 eggs, you whisk them, and then I have, of course, the main ingredient, pumpkin. Calls for 1.5 cups. So hopefully we have enough. Sorry, I got distracted. It said per 1/2 serving. Oh, that's per 1/2 cup serving. That's how many calories. No. We don't care about that. It's fall, dessert time. We don't care about how many calories are going to be in this. So I'm just putting them. I have a big mixing bowl. I am going to use a whisk for this recipe because I don't want it to be too loud, and it's easier to talk while whisking than it is to talk while I have a hand mixer going. A little piece of the shell got in there. My hands are washed and clean, just so that you don't think it's gross doing this. But a good way to do it is to take the shell. If I hadn't already thrown them out, I would have. And you can scrape them out with the shell. It sticks better. But I'm just gonna tilt the bowl like this while I whisk it. I first like to break up the yolks, just to get it going, and then you just whisk. And then you're supposed to just whisk it until it's mixed well. I'm just gonna whisk it just a tad bit more. It's already getting there. I just want to make sure it's actually there. So see how the consistency is like that. Everything's mixed well together. Next, we're gonna open the cans. Another thing I forgot to do before starting. Don't go in that egg. Okay, good. So I'm gonna first start off with just opening 1 can because I don't know if this is 1.5 cups or not. I do have to step out of frame because the can opener is over here. All right. I'm gonna try to avoid using this as much as possible. I'm just gonna maybe eyeball that much, maybe not. I can always wash it before I dry it. I am gonna use a spoon just to scoop it in. Honestly, this recipe wasn't that expensive. Everything probably cost about, what, 3 slices of pumpkin bread at Starbucks would cost. So here's about 1 cup of pumpkin. I'm going to just plop it in there. And then I just need another half cup of that too. So I'm just gonna go ahead and put that in the cup. Why I feel like narrating what I'm doing as if y'all can't put 2 and 2 together, I don't know. But there's the half cup. So I would say it's about 1 can of, it's about 15 ounces of pumpkin. And you just mix it. You want to mix it till it's smooth and like all blended in together. I did have to run to the store real quick because I wasn't as put together as I thought I would be. I thought I had all the ingredients, but I didn't. But that worked out. I got something for dinner too, so. I had to do a little grocery shop real quick. I do have a story time I might say, I might use in a, maybe not next video, but maybe the video after. If you're interested in hearing about it, I just got kicked out of a place for something I didn't even do. Alright. I may need to cut and relook at the directions real quick, so I'll be right back. Alright, I'm back. I just needed to see when I was supposed to add certain things. So, next off, I have to add the oil. It called for sunflower oil. I looked up different things to substitute it because I don't have sunflower oil, but they said canola oil would work. I could have just pronounced that so wrong, but oh well. It calls for 2/3, so I'm just gonna do a half cup and just a tiny bit more. Because I don't know, I don't think I have a 2/3 cup. Measuring cup. So I said to add the oil, the vanilla, it calls for 2 teaspoons. A teaspoon is about the cap. So I'm just gonna do 2 capfuls. Splash more for a good measure. And then it wants the flour, which is 1.5 or 1.5 cups. And then it needs a half cup brown sugar. It calls for it to be packed, so you just pack it in. And 1 cup of granulated sugar. So I just gotta clean these out real quick so I can use them. Always good to dry them before putting sugar and flour and all that type of stuff in there, because it'll stick if it has moisture. I just use a quick paper towel. So I'm gonna go ahead and add in the flour first. The flour hasn't been opened, but that's not even what I had to run and grab. I had to grab the vanilla, sugar, and baking soda, which will come up later. It didn't say the flour yet. It said the oil, vanilla, not vinegar, and the sugars. And then you mix that all together. And then I believe it's the spices and flour. So here's about 1 cup brown sugar packed. I made sure to like press down on it to really pack it in there. And if it's like doesn't want to come out immediately, just tap the bottom. So it's 1 cup of the, half a cup of the brown sugar packed. And then I'm just gonna pour this into the 1 cup. I like to stop just a little bit above it and just kind of shake it, even it out some. And then you just add a little more, and then I'll just take my finger and kind of even it out just to make sure it's a cup. There's 1 cup. Go ahead and pour that in. And then you want to mix all this together. And then you kind of have your base already done. See? Make sure to scrape down the sides of the bowl and not spill any, because that just makes a mess. If you get like little clumps of brown sugar, just kind of hit them and they break apart. It kind of looks like pumpkin pie filling. Almost smells like it, just missing the spices, which this is all mixed in together now. Which, one other thing before I start, we balling on a budget over here, so I don't have the pumpkin seeds that go on top. They're really just garnish anyway. I'm gonna go ahead and mix in the spices, and then I'll add the flour last, because I just kind of want to make sure that all of this stuff gets mixed in well. If you want to know, it had 2 teaspoons of pumpkin spice, 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. It had 1 teaspoon of baking powder and 3/4 teaspoon of baking powder and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And because of all the spices, of course, it will darken up in color and look more like this. It's kind of hard to show y'all, but you can kind of tell. And it is smelling amazing. I have my oven preheating to 350, which is why I'm kind of taking my time doing this. Normally I'm fairly good at being quick at this type of stuff. Now for the flour, I like to just take, if the opening is big enough, you can just stick it in. And I like to just kind of feed into the measuring cup and kind of work its way up the sides. That way, when you pull the measuring cup out, you don't have to worry about leveling it. You already did that. So you just kind of like, squeeze. And it comes out with 1 cup of flour. And then since this recipe calls for 1.5 cups, you of course do the same thing with the half. I'm actually going to wipe it off because it has that brown sugar all in it. So just an easy fix. You just wipe it out real quick and then you can just go right on in. do the same process, just kind of scooping and leveling. And then I'm just gonna, tap the bottom, get that flour out. And there you go. And then of course you just mix this together. Go slow because it's flour, it's gonna try to go everywhere. It probably would have been cleaner if you kind of section the flour and easier to mix, but I didn't think that far ahead. So I'm just gonna start off slow and then pick up the speed of mixing it. But the recipe never called to like separate and like slowly add in different things. So I just didn't go with that because I'm not gonna dirty more dishes unless the recipe specifically states I need to. I just did that other little dish because I thought it would be easier to have everything already measured out. But yeah, so now it's looking like a dough, which it should. It's bread dough. I'm just gonna mix it a little more, make sure I scrape down the sides really well. I can't do that sound. You just make sure everything's incorporated. Of course, beat the whisk. It smells so good. Now I just need to find my pan, and I'm gonna double up on the instructions real quick, and I will be right back. All right, so I'm back. Secured the pan. Now it said to put this on a baking sheet with foil on it. That way, in case it starts browning on the top before it's ready, we can cover it up with aluminum. So I'm gonna use this. It's just to spray the pan down. I like to spray it fairly generously. So you see it's just sprayed. And then you just grab, since I did have to run to the store, I did put it in the fridge for a second, just to keep it from on my counter. I'm just gonna mix it around just a tiny bit more, kind of just make sure everything's good. So you see, and then I'm not gonna use my whisk to put it in because that just seems useless, but I am gonna grab just a handy dandy wooden spoon. And I'm gonna just scrape this in the pan, because I have 10 degrees more to go before the oven is preheated. So I'm just gonna go ahead and slowly add it in, let it just fall. Don't forget to scrape the edges. Get as much as you can. That beep was the oven. It's now preheated. It's just waiting on me now. Luckily, I don't live that far away from a store, so I could just go like 3 minutes down the road to the store and grab it. It's also the same store I was just at an hour ago before filming. So then you're just going to want to smooth it out on the top. Make sure it's nice and even. Now it's set to bake it and like check in like 40 minutes after I put it in to see how the top is coming. And if it looks like the top is more done than it should be, I guess, go ahead and place that foil on top. I don't mark my videos as made for kids, but if somehow kids find this video, never work a hot oven by yourself. Have adult supervision. Be safe. And if you're an adult, be careful. So I'm just going to go ahead and put this in the oven. You know what, I'm not going to put it on the baking pan because it's not going to go. If it needs foil, I'll just take the rack, push it back, and throw foil on it. Not the safest option, but it's what I'm going to do. All right, it's in the oven. I'm just gonna leave this foil here. I'm gonna clean this up, set my timer for 40 minutes, relax, maybe watch some YouTube or something, and I'll check in with y'all when it's time to check in. All right, see you in 40. Oh, let me turn that down. Okay, so I didn't have the pan I needed to bake it in. You need a loaf pan or a bread pan, whatever you want to call it. So now I gotta run back to the store and buy one of those real quick. And then once I get back and the oven's preheated, I will be right back. So see you in just a second. All right, so it hasn't been quite 40 minutes yet, but it's smelling so good. I just want to open up and look. That's what it's looking like so far. You could see it looks like it's cooking, which is good, and it smells so good. It smells, well, like pumpkin, but like a bakery. So I will check in when the timer goes off. I just want to give you a little update, and I will see you in a second. Okay, so it's been 40 minutes. I just stuck a toothpick in it, and it's not done yet, but that's how it's coming out. I'm gonna set a timer for about 10 more minutes and see, because it's almost done, just not quite, and I will let you know how it is. All right, so I just pulled it out of the oven, and this is how it's looking. I have it just over here with my lighting so you can get a better idea of what it looks like. I have it on this so it's not on the counter directly. I'm gonna let it cool for 20 minutes and then I'll take it out and cut a slice off and give you a review of how I think it tastes. So I will see you in about 20 minutes. All right, so I'm back. The pan's still warm, but not like hot. Clearly I can touch it. I'm gonna just go ahead and try to take it out. I'm gonna flip it. It fell right out, which is good. It looks like this. I put it on a baking tray with foil on it, so that you don't dirty up the pan that it's on. I'm just gonna set this all the way. Alright. So now I'm gonna grab a knife. It's like a bread knife. And I'm just gonna cut off part of the edge. I wanna taste it. I am gonna run over to my best friend's house afterwards and show her This is what the inside of it looks like. It smells so good, it's still steamy. I did want to say before I try it, I did end up putting the foil over it because it started getting pretty dark. I wanted to just make sure that it would cook in the middle more and not make the top too dark. I do think it would have looked better with the pumpkin seeds on top, but that's not the main part of the bread. I just want to really try the bread. It's really dense, but it is good. Next time I might add a little extra seasoning, or spices I should say, because I personally feel like it would, that it's lacking like some of the pumpkin flavor. It's there, but it's not as strong as like the Starbucks bread, and I think I'd prefer it a little stronger, but it could also be because I'm eating like the button. But it is really good. I recommend this one. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you'd like me to test out any more recipes, let me know in the comments, and I will try out those new recipes. You can also follow me on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. They'll be linked down below. And I will put the ingredients and directions, or a link to the website I used for it, in the description below as well. I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.